Welcome everybody to the War and Peace Baseball Podcast. I'm here today with Farbode Markazi, Alex Rudy. I'm Alex Uwe, and in the postseason we are down to the last four teams. It is down to the wire in the American League and National League. The pennant is on the line for the Royals, the Blue Jays, the Cubs, and the Mets. Let's be honest. Yeah, really. Let's be honest. Who had the Cubs and Mets in the NLCS? No, yeah, exactly. Nobody's talking. Wait. Yeah.
I did last week.
Okay, fair enough.
Last week, but not like 3 months ago.
Or anytime before the season.
Yeah.
I do want to mention that I did pick the Cubs as a bold NL champion before the season started. I'll have to pull up that podcast or link it or something, just so I have some source of proof.
Well, aren't you just the coolest?
I know. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I'm just smarter than everybody. It's fine.
Just link in the bio so our 4 subs can see how cool you are.
Wow. Okay. That makes me feel good. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the ALCS first between the Blue Jays and the Royals. The Royals, at this point of recording, are already up 2-0 on the Blue Jays. They just came back.
Hell?
Yeah, that's my reaction to today's game. They beat David Price today after he fired 6 scoreless to start them off, and then the Royals came back with a 5-run 7th and took the lead, and of course the bullpen took care of the rest. What does this mean for the Blue Jays? A lot of people thought the Blue Jays would be a powerhouse in this series, and so far there has been nothing. They've scored 3 runs in 2 games.
I'm very disappointed in their performance. I still believe in them just because I'm too prideful in my picking them to win the World Series. But, I mean, they just don't look good. I mean, we all knew that this would be a series probably won by offense, I think. These are both two teams. I know the Royals have a great bullpen, but I think both these teams' strengths are scoring runs, or at least hitting, and it looks like the Royals, kind of more small ball, strikeout, less put a lot of balls in play, still a lot of bases is working a lot better than, the Blue Jays swing for the fences approach. And that's how the playoffs usually work, but at the same time, I mean, the Blue Jays just have way too much talent to be playing this poorly offensively.
Mm-hmm. And I think part of the Royals' success is they are walking Josh Donaldson and Jose Bautista, Encarnacion's dealing with a little thumb injury, so he hasn't been, quite as productive. But they're walking guys productively, and they're avoiding big damage.
The Blue Jays are going home right now. The next 3 games are at home, right? For the Blue Jays, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
I think what Alex Rudy said is completely correct. I think this team, the Blue Jays, are way too talented to go down, and I think they're still gonna be the American League champs, even though
they didn't score a run on Edinson Volquez.
Edinson Volquez, I must say, had a career start. He was throwing 96, 97 with movement, and every pitch was working really well for him. He threw an amazing game.
I still think that's unacceptable.
Unacceptable for a pitcher to be that good out of nowhere.
And I think they already just used Price, who lost the game, let's all be honest. And maybe that's poor management for leaving him in that long, considering he'd already been, considering how much he pitched in the last series. But this is just not looking good for them. I mean, the Royals are a team that excels with momentum, as we saw last year and the season this year, and there's just no window for a mistake now left for the Blue Jays. I mean, I think considering how all in they went this year to do well, I think if they're not in the World Series, I think the season's an overall disappointment, even though they made the playoffs for the first time in God knows how many years. I mean, in my opinion, they're the most talented team in the playoffs left. I mean, so if they're not in that final, if they're not winning the AL, I think this year where I mean, this is the best team they probably might ever have with this, current basic combination of players. I mean, Price might not be back next year. Who knows if, Tulowitzki, Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion will all be decently healthy at the same time ever again, considering all their injury histories, especially. So, yeah, let's make it or break it.
Yeah, I would agree with that, except for the fact that you talked about momentum in that. And
the Blue Jays,
you think about it, yeah.
The Blue Jays live off of momentum, especially. I think Toronto in that ballpark is an insane, like, that atmosphere has been insane.
Okay, so, but then they're going to lose the series then, because they only have 3 games in there. Well,
within the next game, if they gain momentum in the next game, I think they can easily take the next 2 games after that. And they're up 3-2 with momentum going to Kansas City.
Okay, you did not say what I thought you were going to say, Farbode, sorry, but I was going to say going into the series, the Blue Jays probably had more momentum than anybody. They came back from 2 games down against the Rangers, and won probably one of the most intense game 5s I've ever seen with that 7th inning. And, that it just did not carry over at all offensively, and that kind of goes along with the old saying, momentum is as good as the next day's starting pitcher. They threw out Marco Estrada against Edison Volquez. Edison Volquez was the better starting pitcher, and he shut them down. That's what momentum really is. That's what it comes down to. I mean, the Royals know what they're doing at this point. They beat the pitcher they were supposed to beat in Marco Estrada, and they managed to beat David Price, who, when we talk about Clayton Kershaw and how much he struggled in the postseason, and how that really affects his whole status.
He's a great pitcher.
His status as, the top tier pitcher.
Yeah.
David Price has not been particularly successful in the postseason.
No,
he's pitched well. He's pitched well in big games in the past. I'm not going to say he hasn't pitched well under pressure, but it's just the way that he hasn't put up good numbers.
Considering that what he does in the regular season, he's a terrible postseason pitcher.
Well, yeah, by comparison, that's true. And, I mean, it's a very small sample size. I'm not saying David Price is a bad pitcher by any means, but, I mean, that's just part of it. He's not the same. He's not Madison Bumgarner. He's not Adam Wainwright. He's not that kind of pitcher.
I think it has a lot to do, personally, with, maybe I'm wrong, is the type of pitcher he is. Because I don't think he's ever been that guy who had the best stuff in the league or the best single pitch. He's more of like a above average at everything type of guy. And I think that kind of hurts you in the playoffs when you don't have that one, overbearing, exceptional thing to rely on. I think there can be less room for error at times.
Well, David Price,
wrong, I don't know, but I feel like that might be true with him.
David Price is a power pitcher whose approach does not play well against a lineup like the Kansas City Royals, who are able to, they don't try to do too much with his power fastball. They shoot it to right field. There was a lot of opposite field hitting, a lot of line drive singles. That's what won the game for them. And David Price's stuff does not play well against that team.
Yeah.
Farbode, anything to add?
You guys took the words out of my mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It looks like it sounds like we took the voice out of your mouth too.
My bad. Chase Utley took it.
Oh my God. Let's not go into that today.
So, you want to talk about the Mets winning tonight?
I would love to talk about the Mets and Cubs series. Game 1 just happened tonight. Mets took Game 1. Matt Harvey threw very well for the Mets. John Lester didn't throw terribly for the Cubs, all things considered, but it was not enough tonight.
Can I start off with something?
Yeah.
I think this series is already over because there's almost no chance that which game is Arrieta pitching?
Tomorrow.
So
he's pitching.
They'll probably win that game, but there's zero chance they're gonna win Game 3, and they'll be down 2-1. Going to in New York, most likely. And
yeah.
You would think
Wait, what are you saying?
So the Mets won tonight in Chicago, correct?
No, they were in New York.
Oh, well, why?
Because
Oh,
That's just how
home field
it
advantage. That's interesting. Even though they had a worse record. Okay, ignore that then. But my basic point is that the Cubs have no pitching depth. The Mets have all the pitching depth. And so the Cubs, to win the series, most likely had to win both games from Lester and Harvey, or all of Lester and Harvey's games.
Lester and Arrieta's games?
Lester and Arrieta's, I'm sorry. And they just lost one of Lester's, and they're almost guaranteed to lose the game that's not pitched by either of them. So, I think they're in deep trouble now.
Deep doo.
Does that make sense now?
It does make sense.
Again.
I will say that, yeah, I'm gonna say though Jake Arrieta is great, he can only do so much. He can influence 2, maybe 3 games in the series. I think the best chance for the Cubs right now is considering their offense. They did not hit, they didn't score a lot of runs, but they put some good swings on Harvey. Cespedes really shut them down one inning where he threw out Starlin Castro at the plate, and that was a huge momentum shift for them. They played very well, all things considered, behind Harvey. I think the Cubs, just considering how well they hit in the division series, they have the hottest lineup right now. It's not the Blue Jays, it's the Cubs to look out for. And
is it?
That's their only chance.
After tonight?
Kyle Schwarber hit another home run tonight. I'm not gonna go as far to say as Kyle Schwarber is cold. Anthony Rizzo, he'll hit a little bit. He got hit by a pitch and scored a run today. And Rizzo, Bryant, Fowler, those guys are just consistent. They're not crazy hot like Kyle Schwarber and Jorge Soler have been. So even Javier Baez has been very good. He had another hit today. But I just agree. There's so much depth for the Mets pitching wise. They have so many options. They can mix and match wherever they want to start. They can start Bartolo Colon for a start if they really feel like they want to save one of their power arms in the rotation. So it comes down to pitching really. So
I think that the Mets. I think this game was huge. I think it's a lot more important than the other series where I think any game's really just a complete, coin toss based on the matchups. But I think this is a series where each individual game's pitching matchups make a huge difference. And the fact that the Mets were able to win this game off of Lester, I think puts them at an insane advantage. Because how many games can Arrieta pitch? 3 at the max, probably.
He can pitch 2 and make it a relief appearance, probably.
Total mass and Bumgarner.
3 games at the very most.
He doesn't start 3 games. He starts 2 games.
He can only influence, I said.
Yeah.
And then the third, and one of those, it might not even make a difference if he comes in or not. So, it's a first game to 4. So, it's a huge advantage for the Mets. It doesn't really matter it's putting a lot of pressure, I think, on the Cubs offense, because that's not what they're gonna have to rely on, I think, to get back into the series.
Mm-hmm.
It's, because they're probably gonna give up a lot of runs in that game that's not started by, in the games that aren't started by Lester or Arrieta.
Yeah, I think so.
Before the series started, I was trying to decide.
I picked the Mets to win it.
What?
Sorry, that's why I picked the Mets to win it.
Yeah. Before the series started, that's exactly
cases.
Before the series started, I was trying to decide who I thought was gonna win it. Was it gonna be the young Cubs or the young Mets arm? And I think in the playoffs, pitching is just so valuable, and when you have the pitching that the Mets have versus even the Cubs even the consistent offense that the Cubs have, I think the Mets have this series. I think they're gonna be the National League champs. Easy. Not easy, but I think they're gonna win.
We were talking about this in August when the Mets, really started to get good. We were saying, if they get there,
I remember
they're going to be one of the scariest teams.
Yeah, everyone's been saying for the whole. Originally, we were like, wow, the Mets probably going to come back to earth. They're just having a good start, but then once everyone believed in them, which I still think is incredible they even made it this far, considering what the expectations for them were going in. Like, at least the Cubs, some people really had strong beliefs that they were going to make the playoffs, like you did, Uri. I think me and Farbo both thought they were definitely going to contend, and I think I picked them for second wild card, but relevant. Like you said, almost every expert said, no matter what, the team that everyone's going to be the most afraid of facing is the Mets because of their pitching depth. And it's just impossible to, their Hercules faces that monster where it cuts off the head and two more come off the Hydra. They're a Hydra.
Yeah.
Okay, this might be the pitcher in me saying this, but I think really good pitching always beats really good hitting.
I think that's what a lot of people say.
No, but I mean, sometimes, like the really good hitting, whatever, it's baseball.
Whatever, it's baseball.
Starting depth, the relief depth. I mean,
the relief depth is a lot better than the Cubs. The Cubs
guys who were like, wow, I didn't know he was on the Mets. I mean, Tyler Clipper and Addison Reed have been pretty disappointing in recent memory. But you can't discount the fact that at one point those guys were two of the best relievers in the major leagues, and that matters. It's different to having Ryan Madsen coming in the eighth, who hadn't pitched for 4 years in the major leagues. These are guys who 12 months ago were peak closers in the league. I mean, Mejia is unhittable right now.
Oh, wow, I can't believe you just did that.
What?
Familia.
That's funny. Like,
wow.
They're the same person in my head. Not really surprising I did that.
I think if you...
He's technically unhittable because he's not playing.
He doesn't pitch.
Yeah, so technically he's unhittable.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So basically, yeah, I think the Mets got this series because of
we're all on the Mets. Yeah. I trained to win this out, I think. Yes.
I mean, I can't count the Cubs out. I mean, I like the Mets' chances right now, but Noah Syndergaard runs into a rough first inning. That can change a lot of things. The Cubs can take a game that, it's happened before where Noah Syndergaard has a rough first inning. If they have to face Bartolo Colon, I think the Cubs can definitely handle Bartolo Colon.
Obviously, anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
And this isn't it's never over till it's over, as the late great Yogi Berra once said. And this isn't a series that's like a mile difference in the team.
Yeah, we're not saying the Cubs are like dog shit. We're just saying
and I think the series could go to 7 easily. But I would say right now the Mets have a clear advantage. And not just because they won game 1. I'm just,
I would say so too.
Especially.
I agree. And part of my decision is also because I'm kind of rooting for the Blue Jays offense to pick up because I want a really good offense versus really good pitching in the World Series. I want a Mets Blue Jays World Series because that'd be a fun series to watch.
Alright then. Well, that's that for the championship series. Really quick, let's touch on the Dodgers. They just lost in the division series again. It seems like the general trend for them. And they have received the news that Zach Greinke is going to test free agency, which is obviously not good news for them. As well, I believe Don Mattingly is not going to be fired, is what it seems like.
How do you know that?
I saw something that said he's not 100% going to be fired, or he's not.
Okay, well, that's not.
He's not in. I heard reports that they're not. There is a good chance that Mattingly will be back.
See, I don't think he deserves to be fired, but I'd just be really surprised if he's managing them next year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in that payroll, those expectations, and the success he's had, you don't see those guys usually in sports keep their jobs. They're usually the scapegoat.
We had this talk.
Who's really bumped that trend is Mike Sosa.
Yeah.
Will never get fired.
Who is doing this? Oh my gosh.
Doing what?
The ruffling of the microphones. Yes, please.
I would say the only guy who kind of goes against that trend is Mike Sosa, who is immortal and will never be fired for some strange reason I can only attest is that he has a lot of blackmail on Moreno. So, I mean, I think he's gone. I know you just said that the reports say he's most likely.
I don't think it was a report. I'm trying to find my source right now.
you can see when I asked him inappropriately asked him, do you think he'll be back next year? Basically last 2 nights ago. And he was like, really? You're really gonna ask me that right now? I mean, if he was confident, he wouldn't, I don't know if that was the response he would have given.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you asked that to, Clint Hurdle, he would have been like, are you joking? Look what I've done with this team. But Mattingly didn't seem very confident. He clearly seemed worried. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I don't think he's too confident that he's coming back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously it's up to the GM, but I'm trying to find my source right now. I just saw something that said that, it's not, like, Mattingly is in a very questionable position right now, but it's not, like, 100% that he's going to be fired.
He might not be the right guy to take that team to the next level.
And he probably isn't. I mean, really, who you have to think about, there's not a lot of managers out there that are ready to take on a high payroll Hollywood team,
Well put I mean, I know I especially talked them up all year and thought they were so geniusly put together. Because I just thought they had infinite depth. But and they do have a lot of players.
Yes, but when Kike Hernandez is starting in your outfield,
we're pretty disappointed this year, except for Greinke and Kershaw, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
let's talk about
you're saying.
You have different lineups for every game in the NLDS also.
Well, that's because of injuries, I think.
That's injuries and slumps, but that's lack of team continuity.
I mean, I feel like their team was kind of a bunch of just, if we put enough, talent in different random parts, success will happen. And that's just not true.
I think their outfield is a perfect example of that. They had 4 outfielders. They're like, oh, all these guys are all-stars. They have 4 all-star outfielders. What are they going to do? And, Jock Peterson did not hit very well. Andre Ethier ended up starting. Yasiel Puig has been injured and not hitting, and all sorts of problems with him. Carl Crawford is, whatever. Kike Hernandez start in the playoffs.
Who even is he? Who is that?
He's Kike Hernandez. That's who he is.
I mean,
that's all you need to know.
The past couple of times that the Red Sox have been awful, not this year, but they've had a couple disastrous seasons in recent memory.
Yeah, the year after they won the World Series.
Put as much money and talent into one year and just think it will go well. I think the Mets, the Dodgers are, obviously they weren't nearly that desperate and bad, but I think it's kind of a similar example. You need a lot of, I think baseball is a sport where cohesion also matters, and consistency, and, chemistry can make a difference. And even though it's a very individual sport at times, I think all that matters in the clubhouse. And the Dodger clubhouse doesn't seem like a good place to be.
Oh, I'm not going to go as far to say that. I mean, they have fun and stuff. It's not like
Andre Ethier blew up.
It's not like
Mattingly.
It's not like the I wouldn't say it's quite the Nationals situation.
No,
the Nationals are probably the most have a
serious
clubhouse issue going on.
It doesn't seem Cubs good.
No, it's definitely not. Well, Joe Madden is the best manager in the game, and he treats his players better than any other manager, I would say.
Is Mattingly the right guy for these personalities?
I don't know. So far, I think he's handled them as well as he could have.
I think when you're playing in a when like Rudy said, if in sports it doesn't happen where your team's made the playoffs 3 times and you've had that payroll, that type of expectations, and especially in a more like high profile team,
high market
team, you're expected to get fired. And I think the Dodgers front office, they have 2 really good new school type minds, like in Andrew Friedman and the guy they got from the A's, Farhan Zaidi or whatever. And Mattingly's an old.
You work for the Dodgers now, Harper?
No, I just know this stuff. Thank you. No, but Mattingly's more of an old school guy, so we don't know if that's gonna go together at some point. Like I said, I think he doesn't deserve to get fired, but I think he's gonna be bounced.
Could I say one more thing?
Yeah.
I think that honestly, any person who knows anything about baseball, could take a team who has 2 of the 5 best pitchers in baseball and $200+ million payroll. I mean, no manager can honestly take that to win a division to win the NL West, honestly. So what is Don Mattingly really, and I know I'm making the advocation to fire him, even though I just said he doesn't even deserve it. But to be quite honest, I kind of feel like partly, really couldn't anyone do what he's done?
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say again that I think he did the best he could dealing with certain players. The way he handled Yasiel Puig, first of all.
The Dodgers have so many different personalities and drama every single year. Like within Puig and then Ethier demanding a trade and then he didn't get traded. Just the last game, he picked a fight with Mattingly in the NLDS. It's just so many different personalities in that clubhouse. It's hard to deal with as a manager, but that's another reason it could be fired. But then again, you have to realize he might not get fired because who's out there what coach is out there looking for a job right now?
Oh, there's always somebody. There's always somebody.
Like
someone.
That's not a good reason.
Is there anyone better? That's a different question.
That's what I mean. Is there anyone better than Don Mattingly who knows these guys?
You can never really know that until the guy's there.
Yeah, and that's not how this works. If you don't get the job done, you're fired. We'll find somebody to replace you. That's how it works. They don't have another manager lined up to go behind you.
I think they're in deep trouble if he doesn't come back.
I would
say very bloated payroll with just an underperforming roster. On paper, their team is so good.
I will also say, I will add
giant underperformers.
I will add a very, very good farm system, though. Very good farm system. And that counts for something.
They have so much dead weight money blocking all those guys. I mean, think about how long it took Corey Seager to get in this year.
I mean, it's not, what is that? It's not his fault. It's not the Dodgers' fault for signing Jimmy Rollins. They did not expect Corey Seager to be ready this season.
No, it's their fault for trading for Carl Crawford, and
that was so long ago. You can't project that far in the future if you're a team, if you're trying to build a team. It's just not how it works.
You projected that Jimmy Rollins was gonna suck ass this year pretty easily.
Wow, okay. Them's fighting words right there. Anyway, I was just gonna say about Mattingly, the way he handled Puig, I think he gave him just enough opportunities to succeed, but when things weren't going well, he would not be in the lineup just to be in the lineup. Same thing with Ethier. He had a problem with Ethier. Ethier had a problem with the way things were going, and that's his problem. He was not good enough to be in that outfield for the most part, until all the injuries hit. Jock Peterson, really good, had struggled the second half of the season, and that was a tough situation for Mattingly to deal with. I think he handled it pretty well. I mean, Peterson's defense is what kept him in center field, basically. But he adjusted well. He did not leave Peterson at the top of the order. He adjusted his team accordingly, and I think, considering what he had to work with, I think he did a good job. And as I said, that's not what it's about, though. When it comes to your job as a manager, it's about results.
I think there's a really good chance that I agree. I think baseball is a game where there's a lot of luck involved, and there's also a very good chance that the Dodgers have just been very unlucky, and this just isn't their time. Because I think their off season, everyone said was, I think, good, largely. I think everyone said their offseason was pretty good. I think coming into this year, everyone thought they were, going to do very, very well. I mean, they won the division. I didn't think that any enormous week. I don't think they're a worse team than the Mets in any way, really. And that series went to 5 games, right? Went to 5 games. So, I know they only went that because of fucking Chase Utley killing,
Ruben Tejada,
but I don't know, maybe it's just not their time yet.
I feel like you just said that to work in Chase Utley in some way and you weren't going anywhere with that, so
I was just trying to find
Chase Utley.
I was just trying to go to a conclusion. Who fucking knows?
Yeah, who knows, really.
I mean, I think the Nationals are kind of in that similar situation this year.
Okay, yeah, I think Matt Williams' job is
just disappointing.
in more jeopardy.
I just think two very, very talented teams who overall results didn't live up to what was expected of them.
I'm not going to compare the Dodgers to the Nationals, but
yeah, obviously not that bad.
The manager situations are similar.
At all. I'm just comparing.
No, their situations are very similar.
Do you think the manager situation is very similar?
No, just their whole situation with having a high payroll, and
Yeah.
there's going to be changes next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
All right then, that is all for our podcast today. Thank you everybody for watching and listening. Please, if you have any feedback, any questions that you'd like to share with us, you can tweet us at WPB_podcast on Twitter, or you can email us at warandpeacebaseball@gmail.com. And you can also check out our website that we have. That is warandpeacebaseball.myfree.website is the URL for that. And one more thing I'd like to mention really quick is that I have recently posted my top 100 fantasy rankings article on the website. I will link that in the video, and if you'd like to check that out, I know it's never too early to start building your fantasy team for next year, so please give that a look and let me know what you think of it. Other than that, we are done for now. As always, Farbode.
Peace.